$100 billion. That's New York City's budget. More money than most countries operate with. Enough to fix housing, fund schools, and overhaul the subway system. But if you look around, rents are up, trains are late, schools are underfunded. It feels like we're throwing money at the rats and hoping for the best. Why? Because people spending this money, the mayor and city council, aren't doing their job. But the good news, 2025 is an election year, an overhaul year. Every seat, from the mayor to city council to the borough presidents to the district attorneys, it's all up for grabs. And you got the biggest say in all of that with your vote. New York City isn't just a city. And it's not just the greatest city in the world either. It's a blueprint for the rest of the country. Take rent control, for example. When New York City capped rent increases, it inspired policies in places like California and Oregon. Climate action, New York City passed its Green New Deal to reduce emissions. And now other cities are watching. But when we mess up, when developers turn neighborhoods into playgrounds for billionaires or schools crumble from neglect, it sends the wrong message to the rest of the United States. This election isn't just about New York City's future. It's about showing the world how to get it right. So here's why local government matters. Think about your day-to-day frustrations. Rent that's too high, trains that never come on time, schools that don't have enough teachers or don't keep, vagrants off the streets. Those aren't like federal issues. They're hardly even state issues. Really, they're local ones. Your city council decides if landlords can raise your rent or if your building gets bought out by a developer. The mayor decides if funding goes to the public transport or the NYPD. And here's an example, right? The Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, for example. It's crumbling if you've ever driven past it, like near that fancy part of Brooklyn. The infrastructure has been crumbling and residents have been fighting to fix it for years. This needs local government leadership. And it's why a train from Brooklyn to Queens hasn't happened yet. While developers get tax breaks to build luxury apartments, no one in the neighborhood can afford it. So how much sense does that make? Let's figure this. What can $100 billion really do, right? Because $100 billion is an unfathomable amount of money. To put it into perspective, $30 billion could end world hunger for a year. Boom, just like that, gone. Everybody got rice to eat every night. For a whole year, in the whole world. $20 billion could solve homelessness across the entire United States. $20 billion could overhaul New York City's subways. New signals, trains that run on time, and cleaner stations. And with the leftover money, we really only need $1 billion to send every New Yorker to your New York Knicks game for a decade. Now, y'all might not be Knicks fans, but this sounds enticing to me. Knicks tickets at MSG are like in exorbitant prices. Anyway, instead, what are we doing instead of spending $100 billion on that stuff? We're spending millions on rat-proof trash bins, which by the way, the rats are still figuring out how to break into. It's not some new technology. It's literally just an aluminum can that sits outside your window. This isn't a money issue. It's a leadership issue. The question isn't, do we have enough to do these things? The question is, why aren't we doing it better? Here's a reason. Here's one very important reason. The wildest stat you'll hear today is that less than 20%, that's right, less than 20% of New York City voters actually show up for local elections. That's it. Imagine if only 20% of workers showed up for their jobs. Nothing would get done. In 2021, Eric Adams won the mayoral election with only 7% of registered voters backing him. And in some districts, city council races have been decided by just a few hundred votes. I think about Christopher Bay in Bayside, a progressive leader who lost to some incumbent who didn't care about a thing. Now look at Bayside, it's Trump country. And he won, and Christopher Bay lost with less than 500 votes. That's how low the bar is, and that's how important the impact is. With turnout this bad, even a small shift in engagement could flip entire districts. This isn't just a complaint, it's actually a blueprint for change. If we all vote, we all can make things happen. So how about this? Over the next few weeks, we're breaking down everything you need to know about the New York City elections, the districts, the candidates, the issues, because $100 billion isn't a dream, it's real. And we get to decide how it gets spent. The question is, will we?